Well, good evening, or good morning if you are in the vicinity of where Days Cloud is on the other side of the United States, in Korea or Asia. Welcome actually to an evening randomizer invitational league action. We are in week 6. We have playing, after all of this like excitement from week 5 from Cross Keys, we are actually back to, I would say, somewhat more standard open mode. It's going to be nice palate cleanser. We've got two very excellent runners here tonight. Paradox versus Days Cloud. It's going to be actually a really hecking great match setup. I am Claire Mouse. Joined here today on commentary is Drosy. Drosy, how's it going?
It's going good. I'm excited. I've been happy all week that we have this nice short mode that the runners are playing personally.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's a palate cleanser after Cross Keys, right? Although, based on Paradox's team name, and of course, Daze is quite the fan of Cross Keys. Maybe, if they were going to be okay with Cross Keys every week for 7 weeks, including playoffs, I don't think they're going to complain. But you know what? We are not in that universe. We are here in reality with Open League. So certainly very excited to see how these runners are going to do tonight.
Yeah, and Frozen Leftovers has a bit on the line here. They are trying to avoid relegation. Currently, they're 7th out of 8 teams, with Les French Canadians 1 game behind them. So if they can win here, they can guarantee that no matter what Les French Canadians does this week, they just need to beat them once next week to stave off relegation.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was actually going to ask, so just so I know we were pretty deep into week 6, kind of wrapping up this. We do find actually Kato Samaria starting out from Link's house. That's actually really nice to see. Maybe both runners going to go up to Uncle Routers.
Dirty Uncle Routers.
Yeah. All right. So open mode. Even Cross Keys. Days starts the sanctuary, and what do we do? Maybe does he know this is open mode? Maybe this is why he's him starting at Link's house as opposed to sanctuary.
I mean, I think they know it's daytime.
Okay, that's
it's not a storm.
Yes. Okay, so let's see what our good uncle has today. Actually, okay, maybe this isn't as bad because, as Daze is demonstrated here, not the green rupee is going to be worth anything or those 10 arrows. There are actually 2 magic pots right here, so maybe that's actually going to be a good use for their Canis Mario. Or maybe they just lucked out here. Who knows?
So yeah, I mean, that's about all they got here, and Paradox is actually exiting though. Is he planning on doing escape with Cane of Samaria? Or just another tree pull?
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so it looks like tier 1 is only going to be blue rupee, so nothing really like that lucrative. But yeah, it looks like he's actually going to venture into escape. This is not going to be enough magic though, right?
Yeah, it's also a very unconventional open play.
Do you think this is maybe motivated by the fact that he is facing somebody like Daze Cloud? I mean, these 2 are very talented runners, of course. But as you said, if something is maybe unconventional, this could be his way of introducing some variance.
Could also be, just it's a time to experiment. The thing about CrossWords Keysanity's position, oh!
Oh, dude, talk about unconventional and experimentation. You know what? That is a one heckin' impressively amazing find here, Paradox, and the first chance of escape. Yeah, that's kind of important, don't you think?
So Dazed Cloud will need to get that Moon Pearl out of the map chest and escape. Paradox now continuing out of logic to the boomerang chest. Dazed hasn't found anything in Lost Woods yet.
Yeah, and actually, a good thing to keep in mind, of course, is that, yes, we don't necessarily have a small key here, so let's actually, hopefully he's going to have just enough magic to get through. Looks like he does. Where is he going to take the small key? It's like he's going to continue probably on to Zelda Cell and see what's on the back here.
Yeah, that you can do with pots, so...
Well, I mean, looks like Paradox is actually very confident in his Cane of Samaria usage to the front of escape. So, because it looks like he has just enough magic in order to make it through the 2 guards. A good thing there are 3 pots here at the bottom of escape, because 1 pot can certainly be reserved for that pesky green guard who, if you catch his attention, he is not going to let you go.
And meanwhile, Dazed has bought bombs, as Paradox finds money with which to buy bombs.
Yeah. I think we're too busy watching Paradox. I assume in this case, Days Cloud maybe came from. Did they come from the front or the top of Kakariko? Or did they come from the bottom?
Yeah, because he did a Sank route
Okay.
and checked Lost Woods and everything, but then just went through Kak. And here's our map check. I saw a regular crystal in Eastern, a 5-6 in Desert, and a regular crystal in Hera.
Okay, cool. That was very fast. As you were so busy doing the map check, I saw that Days Cloud, because he bought the bombs earlier, he does not have enough rupees to pay off the bottle vendor, and the bottle vendor says, "You're too poor. Go away until you come back with more money."
Fortunately, there's plenty of opportunity as we find a glove in the well. Plenty of opportunity to get rupees in CAC, like right now in the well.
Yeah, looks like it. So, Days Cloud is going to be, you know what, he says, "I have enough money for you now. Please sell me whatever you have on you." And it is a cape. Potentially good item to find. I mean, always a really nice safety. Does end up opening up at least one privilege if we eventually we're going to need that item. Also is one piece towards potential Darkhold access. But we're still a little bit far away from that.
Well, now we won't have money problems, and a bottle in Blind's hut, which is always nice to find in CAC so you can check Sick Kid the first time around.
Oh yeah. And yeah, so speaking of, so typically, players maybe try to, especially in open mode, maybe take not a direct path into Kakariko, right? As you just said, the goal is to find a bottle, or, more lucrative speaking, a flute, so you can just come to Kakariko exactly one time, then take care of basically all of your quests, right?
So where is the glove? Chicken Hut?
It was in the well.
Oh, in the well, okay. I already forgot.
No, don't worry about it. That's why there are multiple eyes on these runners. It looks like though, at least Days took the sick kids, lazy kids allowance money, medicine money, and so at least he has some peace of mind in that the sick kid now will never get better because he doesn't have enough money now to buy medicine. Poor guy.
I just thought he was stealing the piggy bank.
Oh man, that makes you feel even worse, right? as an explorer, I guess already, like if you're Link or in this case, Twilight Princess Zelda, I think, Days, like he's already like going to all these houses, and, like stealing everyone's treasure chest and breaking down pots. Maybe stealing a kid's piggy bank is like, not even on the radar of like, bad deeds. I guess. Okay, so we did get a glove. Days Class is going to be good. It looks like he's going to take a quick peek into the back of Escape, which I do not think we saw from Paradox, right? He just ended up doing the back of Escape. And
right.
Then, sorry,
I mean,
the
we
bottom of
don't
Escape.
even know whether there was a key in the front for him to get to the back that way.
Oh yeah, that's actually true. That's a good point. I don't think we saw one, because just I think we ended up seeing just items. So yeah, as
There's
demonstrated, yep, Days Cloud finds the key. It looks like he is not interested in doing Dark Cross. Certainly, no worries there. Not only is of course not in logic without that lamp. What's up?
Does Dark Cross have the map? I don't remember us getting the map.
I believe you are correct, actually. That is even a better point because we were so excited when we saw the Moon Pearl in the first chest. I think there was an item in Boomerang chest, right? And then there was definitely $50 in the bottom of Zelda Soul. So if we did see that in the back of Escape, then I think the map is in Dark Cross. So hopefully that is good information for both our runners.
But yes, the Moon Pearl is really good information though for Paradox to have.
Oh yeah, it's definitely something you want to see sooner rather than later. Speaking of items though that we would like to see sooner rather than later, so that glove is certainly really nice. Kena Samaria is really nice, right? Especially want to see that, before going into, later on dungeons such as, Ice Palace. Might certainly be required for entry into, let's say like the back of Mire or Turtle Rock. How about a sword? Yeah, or maybe a
sword would be nice.
Yeah, permanent weapon. That would be kind of nice. We would also really like to have something that would give us a little bit mobility. And of course, the big ticket item, of course, would be the boots. Hook shot's good. Flute's good.
Oh, and Dazed is using good bee strats here in Mini Moldorm Cave. Didn't even have to spend any bombs.
I think Days and Bees, like they go, they're like best buds. Bees have saved Days in many a situation in previous seasons before. So certainly using Bees seems to be no stranger to Days Cloud's arsenal. Alright, though it looks like with that glove that Paradox has found, he is also going to go to the back of Escape and pick up his whatever 2 items, including bombos and the small key. Looks like though because he's done the front of Escape, he believes that he should be able to just leave Dark Cross, as you said earlier, Jossie, that there's going to be a map there.
Yeah. So Paradox definitely knows that now.
Dazed. Speaking of, whoa.
Yeah, he's in Oko range with these sand crabs.
Yeah, he did a very excellent job. Actually, basically just maneuvering around the crowds. It is really not easy to be able to do. Basically, have to wipe through those crowds when, as you said, he's in Oko mode. Only 20 rupees though in Ice Rock Cave, so unfortunately not going to be value in the walk all the way over there, but at least he's got some peace of mind. We are kind of inching towards nickel and diming our way towards Zora money, at least.
So Dazed is doing the Saha check. I wonder if he'll dip Eastern just because he's kind of running out of places other than Escape.
Yeah, actually, so, between our 2 runners, I think they've relatively done similar things. Paradox does have the front of Escape over Dazed Cloud for the time being, but yeah, I guess we're still looking into things that are in logic, speaking of. Okay, so Dazed and talking to Sahashla finds out that today's green pendant is Ice Palace. Speaking of, so we can swim now over to Ice Palace, but they probably are more concerned with your immediate, logically open checks now, like, Hobo, or some of the other.
Yeah, and now, well, what's interesting is both of the runners are within 100 rupees of Zora money, but they don't have Zora money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's actually a good point. So they do have a glove for what it's worth. I'm not sure if they want to go spend their time farming up money. Maybe they will try and hope that like the rest of the flipper checks will give them enough money.
Looks like Dazed is doing a Gina here. Because I don't know what else he'd be doing in this direction.
Well, there is the 50 rupee.
Farming Zora, right. He's farming Zora money, makes sense.
Well, yeah, but maybe he doesn't need to because we just found a hoarder crab here that gave us like a ton of money. But looks like he's still continuing, so maybe this is actually going to be... Nope, it's going to be another rupee crab farm.
Yeah, no, he had checked them earlier. He knew they were going to do that.
Okay. All right, so it looks like though he is at least going to continue on. This is actually very reasonable, right? You come all the way over here, you may as well end up checking what's up.
And if Paradox does Saha's hut, he's going to get another 50 rupees as well as the flippers and be really close. Oh, I didn't even know about that bomb under a rock that Paradox just showed us.
Oh, yeah. That is one of the many, or several, I guess, 50-50 rocks. Certainly has saved some runners, basically, when they ran out of bombs and won the 50-50 drop, because, of course, you need a bomb in order to enter Vice Rock Cave.
So did you see what Daze just got in Aegina's cave?
I took a very slight glance over. Based on what I see in his My Item screen, did he just pick up the bow?
Yes.
Oh, wow. All right, so back to Eastern?
Yeah, well, I mean, looks like he's going to at least loop in Hobo.
Okay, so this could potentially be like a one-off check, or maybe he's just going to go over to Hobo. Oh, no, Paradox! Oh, that is so unfortunate.
Fun fact, if you're fake flippering and get a 4th piece of heart, it will put you back into fake flipper state. Yeah,
it looks like, though, unfortunately, Paradox actually does not have enough Zora money. If he had visited Hobo, though, man, Daze Cloud actually is just sequencing this thing, I mean, like, just surprisingly well, right?
So now at least he'll have pod money left over, because sometimes you just barely have Zora money, and then you find yourself in the dark world and can't open pod.
Oh, yeah. So, all right. So, and of course, based on what we saw from Days Cloud's side when he visited Saha's closet in the back, he found the flippers, and of course, Paradox looks like he's heading there shortly. So he might be, a bit chagrined after having done, the fake flipper and having to come all the way back. But he just could have gotten real flippers, right? and not have to go make another trip over here.
Right, so now Paradox is probably going to feel a little bit silly about his fake flippering. But he can still feel smart about his Moon Pearl.
Oh yeah, no, heck yeah. Like that was like a very, very big item.
So what do you think, hammer on Zora Ledge?
Oh man, on Zora Ledge even. Okay. Man, I'm hoping for a sword. That's what I'm hoping for. But unfortunately, it looks like it is just a pack of bombs, which I think even in Paradox's situation when you don't have full inventory for bombs, is probably not going to be able to pick that up. Speaking of though, is Paradox headed over to where I think he's headed over to?
Without the bow.
Oh no! Oh man, that is just so unfortunate because we've seen everything on Days Cloud side.
So the flippers were surprisingly not leading us to anything.
Yeah, no, that's true. So potentially then, we are gonna have to see like what our Dark World crystals and pendants are. Alright, so unfortunately, for Paradox and our knowledge that Days Cloud does have the bow from Gina's cave, is that he is unfortunately not going to be able to fully clear this crystal dungeon, whereas Days Cloud, assuming he can reasonably get through the dark room in the back, which I have every confidence that he does. He is going to be able to claim his first crystal dungeon here.
Without even the fire rod?
Oh, so these runners are so good that they're probably going to just able to not only sequence break out the back, they're going to be able to keep track of the fact that they sequence break out. It's almost as if they've played this game once or twice before. Although that being said, like 5 hard screen mail still is like not like super comfortable because like in the back in the dark rooms, right? Like there are the Igors and they do 100 damage regardless, right? So you do have to be a little bit careful.
Right, and we don't have many choices of weapon. I mean, we can use Samaria a bit, but we're pretty low on magic and don't have any good way of recharging our magic until we beat Armos Knights and get the full refill from that.
Yeah, no, that's actually a good point that you bring up, Josties. So of course, underneath all of these pots in Eastern Palace, you don't really have, especially this early in the game. All right, we got a shovel. You don't have a lot of magical items other than that lamp, right? And so the number of magic pots inside Eastern Palace is actually not very high, right? As opposed to you get a bunch of arrows, because you're supposed to get the bow here.
Meanwhile, Paradox did pick up a shovel there, so interesting fetch quest for us to potentially have.
Yeah, you always love to see the shovel after you've like already kind of done like your South Loop area. I guess although a shovel's probably not going to be the worst fetch quest that they're going to have to do in this scene.
And the big key is vanilla, so that makes it all decidedly out of logic.
Yeah, that's certainly true. But... Actually, yeah. Speaking of logical checks, though, where else can we go in the light world at this point?
The shovel spot. I mean, I think that's all we haven't seen that's in logic.
So, like, it has to be like a fire rod or a lamp in this case, which has to lead us to something else, like on Armos, maybe.
I mean, it could be something really silly like the flute, and then our next progression's in Speckrock Cave.
Oh yeah, that is true. Or it could be maybe a book. That we would have desert access. Not like we could do much in desert, but we can at least get inside and check a couple checks. Boy, these are all great scenarios, right, Drosty?
But I think there has to be progression on the shovel.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you're right, because we've certainly between our two runners, we've exhausted. It seems like actually a lot of, or almost all of the other options at this point. So we're gonna actually see get confirmation on Paradox's side first what that shovel's gonna hold for us.
Yeah, I mean, could be the lamp, in which case Armos Knights could well be our progression. Could be the hammer, in which case we have Dark World access.
Oh, right, we can get a hammer. How silly. Like traditional Dark World access. Oh, Trossi,
There we
what
go.
a call. All right, we don't have to worry about, necessarily going to visit Aghanim quite yet. Not only we don't have the lamp, but we have our traditional Dark World access. So presumably
It
it's going
is
to
going to
be...
take. It is going to take Paradox away from Aegina, though, and we don't know where the other bow is.
That is
or
true.
when we might get the flute to take us to desert more easily.
When do you think Days Cloud is going to opt to do the front of escape? I guess it has to be soon, right?
He's running out of stuff in logic, right?
Yeah, and I guess like the Moon Pearl is pretty limiting, right? Because let's say he just goes and checks Dig Spot immediately after, beating Armos Knights and getting his first crystal. He's gonna get the hammer, but he still can't do anything, right? Like inside Dark World. So probably he's gonna kind of get shoehorned into going to the front of escape. Dace, though, he's trying very hard in order to try and pin down that last Igor.
Was that the
did
boots?
you see? Yeah, that was the boots and hype. Oh my gosh, dude!
This is a hype cave. Boots
Yeah,
and first sword.
Yeah, oh my gosh, this is a game is now playable cave, Drossi.
And another bottle just for good measure.
Yeah, for good measure. It was a bee inside. I guess we'll end up seeing what that bee holds. It might be a good bee, in which case he can also sell it for a little bit more money if he, especially, is interested in maybe getting pot and some more money. But if he's into a dig game, it should be fine.
I totally missed the map check, but apparently our tracker, Scott G, thankfully did not, and caught that our other two pendants were Thieves Town and Meyer, and Turtle Rock is in fact the other 5-6.
Okay, sounds good. Oh man, I really hope Days can guess through this room. Looks like he is actually trying to use some arrows in order to... Oh no! So I think he has a fairy that he ended up picking up from Waterfall?
Yeah,
Okay.
from the ferry.
Yeah, but oh man, it looks like he's actually spending quite a lot of time though in this dark room. Unfortunately, it looks like he's just... I mean, it is pretty difficult without a sword because you really can't see your location all that well. And so he's really trying to get like some arrows shot out so he can at least pin down where that Igor is, and then kill it, and then try and go get to
There
the
we go. Picked up the key finally.
Yes. All right, safely and soundly after a fairy has completely made it through, he's going to pick up some arrow, or sorry, in this case, bow arrow replenishments, and then going to try and make his way back to Armos. At least the fact he can see now is hopefully he's going to make the rest of the is going to go pretty smoothly for him.
And Paradox making an early pod play again. Unfortunate since we know where one bow is.
That is really unfortunate because he's already been over here once, right, in Eastern Palace without the bow. And now he's going to basically dip Pod. So unless Pod actually does have our second bow, which, could happen, right?
At the rate we're going, bow-locked bow, but he doesn't have any potions for doing the potion glitch.
So
maybe he can mimic clip.
So he does have a fairy still, right?
Yeah, oh right, I guess you can do that with the fairy.
Yeah, I don't know if he knows that, though, but I guess we're going to have to see in this case what's going to be the case if this is not going to be a small key. Meanwhile, though, Days just blazes through the back of Eastern Palace here, claims his first crystal at right around the 20-minute mark. Okay, so nothing. Looks like actually we found all of the items out of Eastern Palace before Armos. So Days is going to check the shovel spot, probably. Looks like he is quick swapping over, and then after he gets his hammer, because he still doesn't have the Moon Pearl, he's probably just going to have to go to the front of his cave.
I mean, that's his only remaining checks in logic.
Yeah.
Speaking of, so Pod is not bow-locked. At least not immediately. So let's see what we have in the frontier.
Yeah, so far it's key, and another key. It is a key,
Vanilla.
just a big key in this case.
And yes, Dazed is taking that hammer. Okay, so The back is not immediately bow locked. And let's see how Paradox handles this. Is he going to use the fairy for a bottle glitch? Is he going to do a mimic clip? Looks like he's going to try to mimic clip.
Yeah, no, it looks like actually mimic clip seems to be kind of is becoming more and more popular, or at least a like viable skill that more and more runners are basically putting in their arsenal. All right, Dazed picks up his moon pearl from the first chest here in the front of the cave. It looks like though he is going to just at least finish off this this part, and is going to pick up his I don't remember, it was $50 in Zelda Cell and something potentially not relevant in the boomerang chest.
But not the map.
Not the map, correct. Looks like though Paradox, these runners, the level of competition, right, that as a runner is very impressive. Certainly was able to mimic clip out. And Days actually looks like he is not even going to pick up this key because he knows he doesn't need it.
Okay, was that 2 small keys on the right side of
It looked like it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have the fabled 5-key front, which means
lucky for Paradox.
Well, for logic, it makes interesting results that, well, Dark Maze wouldn't be in logic anyway because we don't have a lamp, but Harmless Hellway is not in logic.
Mm. All right, successfully made it over though on Hammer Yelp. That was nicely done.
As he basically says, screw logic.
Yeah, probably at this point, both runners are probably willing to sequence break out some dark rooms here. Although Dark Maze still can be actually quite a dangerous place. Paradox does have a sword though. Certainly would make things a lot nicer than having no sword, of course. Looks like though Dace Cloud in right outside of Hype Cave is going to be able to pick up his goodies relatively soon.
Didn't actually see. Oh, it was just Bloopy. That was the other thing here. So there was nothing in Dark Maze. But that hook shot is in logic.
Yeah, that hook shot though is going to be pretty nice. Speaking of potentially more logic breaking sequences, with the glove, with a hook shot, we do have a lot of the mountain, not logically accessible, but runner accessible. How's that?
Right, because we just ignore the lack of a lamp and we can do the entire light mountain.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just as if you're like playing this game, with a blindfold on or something. Alright, so no bow, unfortunately, on Paradox's side. Unfortunately, again, because the bow, at least the bow that we know of, was in the Desert Palace area with Akina, that of course Days Cloud went to go get, so he's gonna have to save and quit out of pod. But with that hook shot, looks like he might be taking up some of our mountain advice here and heading up.
Yeah, so first we do the boots checks. Still don't have access to King's Tomb, and Bonk Rocks was just some bombs, but you do kind of want to check Lumberjack while you're over here. Yeah, that's
right. I was actually going to ask you, like, did either of our runners check Lumberjack in this case? But I guess they haven't even been up here, right? Just because, without boots, it's somewhat, slower, right, in order to basically make these checks.
Yeah, and since Lumberjack isn't accessible without boots, a lot of runners will wait until they have boots. Just a big 20. So Dazed finds Pod. We're going to get a full clear from him, I'm sure, though. Again, the Terrapin room is kind of annoying. Bombos definitely helps.
Yeah, the fact that Daze found a sword in Hype Cave, I mean, the sword, in this case, I think is just, is much larger, or whatever, the fact that it is kind of puny size, you shouldn't undervalue it, because, not only do we get to kind of dash quickly, but we can actually use, as you said, that Bombos medallion, and it is going to be quite nice in order to be able to use in the dark rooms in the back of pod, or the bottom of pod, whatever. more bombs out of logic, but at least we did our good deed for the day, and Eagle Scout, Water Scout, Squirtle has rescued the old man and deposited him safely into his cave.
Not for much of a reward or anything, but...
No, unfortunately. But you know what? A good deed is his own reward, Jossie.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
All right, let's see in this case what Paradox Cave has for Paradox today. Man, try that as a tongue twister, Jossie. Alright, so meanwhile though, Dazed has already made it over to the Bowlock side with that bow pulled out. He doesn't need to do anything fancy. Just kill the mimics here the old-fashioned way. Alright, so this is like Health Cave. This is our weekend retreat. We are going to rejuvenate and become, healthier and better than ever.
Hey, health is good when you're doing a lot of dark rooms with, like, nothing.
That is absolutely true. That looks like actually we did also pick up red mail in Paradox Cave as well. So this Squirtle has like, I don't know, like an iron shell at this point or something. All right, so hello. Did you see what's on Floating Island, Jossie?
I missed that momentarily.
It was our real lamp, the one that we can actually use in order to light up dark rooms in the game.
That is locked behind the mitts and the mirror then, neither of which we have found.
And that also means that our flute must be hiding around somewhere, not on the mountain, because that would be our logical axis up here.
Also true. So that lamp gives us quite a bit of information.
Yeah, that lamp, the fact that that lamp is buried under like so many items though is actually a little bit interesting. Do you think that means like then the fire rod would end up showing up earlier? And maybe we'll never end up getting the lamp if that's the case.
Yeah, it's entirely possible if we do get the fire rod that, it's not worth it to then grab the lamp since you've already done all the hard dark rooms.
So Paradox actually did a really nice bomb setup actually with in order to do his hair pot. I do remember there was the big key and the basement cage. I already forgotten what was in the map chest. I guess we're gonna hope that in this case, the basement does not have our last item.
That unfortunately was the small key and the compass.
That was the compass, yeah. So.
I mean, if there is an item in the basement, we can't get it without a fire source.
No, but that's also a good point, Drossie. So like that lamp could actually be tempting, but maybe that is actually just a sign to our runners that even if there is an item down the basement, it's we just have to come back for it anyway if we're ever going to come back for it.
Nice hammer kill on Moldorm.
Oh yeah, no enrage face, but also Moldorm is actually pretty aggressive. Could definitely knock you out even when he's not angry.
So yeah, I don't remember if the map was in the map chest or if we got some junk item there. Let's hope it was a junk item.
Yeah, so or let's hope it was yeah. Let's hope that we end up getting both our items, so then we just never have to come back here. All right, so it looks like we have potentially one more check here in logic.
Dazed was getting his switches a little bit confused. Did we find anything in Paradox Cave?
We found red mail. We found 2 heart containers. We found 300 rupees. And that's about the extent of it.
Oh, okay. I mean, Paradox does have to check his own cave.
Yes, that is true. Actually, I wonder if runners actually wanted to do Spike Cave at this point. I think that would be in logic, correct? But maybe Paradox does not have enough, like actual.
It is
resources.
in logic. he'd need to go out and get some green goo.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that right. So logically speaking, maybe he doesn't have. He just doesn't have. Sorry. Logically speaking, he has all the stuff, but in this case, he just probably doesn't have the resources now to get through.
And meanwhile, Dazed Cloud is doing this really annoying basement. He does have blue mail, so that's something.
Yeah. No, Daze is certainly. I mean, he is a very, very experienced runner. Has gone through, lots of this. Looks like he actually is just pulling out bombos in order to hopefully, just in case, hopefully going to get this through. Probably, arguably one of the hardest dark rooms.
Wow.
That was really nice. He's already through. He ended up hitting all of the turtles.
I didn't realize that the bombos animation was actually invisible in a dark room.
I also didn't know that. Or at least maybe that's just not something that you usually see, or usually I guess don't see in this case. Alright though, so Dazed Cloud is already back here. So he does have but actually yeah, he has hookshot and sword, but looks like he is actually just going to try and hammer out the mask. And then looks like he is going to opt to hold out his sword a bit, just so he can maybe try and extend out his offset the hammer hitbox. But looks like he's going to, you know what? Let's just shoot the bow and arrow that we picked up earlier. Please be careful.
Yeah, trying to fighter sword it.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't okay. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's the book in Skull Woods on Paradox side.
Interesting. Okay, so I think that's actually both items out of Skull. Except I want to say that in this case he also picked up the powder in the what is it? I forgot the room was called already.
Oh yeah, he does have powder. But Dazed Cloud is leading 2 crystals to 1.
That bow out of Agina's cave, I mean, right now, it seems... So, okay, so actually, you know what? With the book that Paradox just picked up, that is actually some pretty good motivation to at least maybe explore over to the Desert Palace area. We still, unfortunately, don't have a fire source that we would really need in order to clear out the backup desert and claim a crystal. I don't know if Paradox is, like, trying to wait for something like that, but at least with the book, he has a bit more motivation to go over there. Because, at least, like, with the boost, that deserts can't be, like, even if a desert was boost locked, you can at least still get everything in the front.
So now we're getting our first look at Village of Outcasts. But, yeah, I mean, I wonder about that fire rod. Is that going to be our fire source, or are we somehow going to get handed the flute, the mitts?
Yeah, like, all of the items basically trying to unlock the lamp? That is quite a tall order. Alright, looks like Daze, though, has to really make sure that it is only a red rupee, that we do not need to end up killing Aghanim here for today. Although, meanwhile, I don't think we actually found anything here in the Village of Outcasts. Found some money. Oh my gosh! We found the other bow here!
Out.
Oh. So, is he... When do you think he's going to check Agina? if at all.
I think it's a pretty safe bet that Dazed gets silvers.
Yeah, that is... You know what? I'm willing to take you on that bet. Front... looks like at least front 4 of Thieves Town, though, paying off already. Paradox ends up finding a Master Sword.
Yeah, it's generally a good idea to do front 4 of Pendant Thieves when you're passing through the area.
Yeah.
Probably don't want to do... I mean, maybe if you just don't find anything at all in the front, you do the back, but generally speaking, you don't want to necessarily go to the back.
Yeah, I would say that probably the only real pain point for Paradox right now is that he's on, what, like 9 hearts in red mail? So if he wants to, and he doesn't have the mirror, so if he wants to just quit after the front 4, it's not going to be, okay, so never mind, 10 hearts. So it's going to be a little bit more of a trek. But looks like, though, with what, it was a map, a big key, and the Master Sword and a heart container, 2 items are going to be left in the back. He does with the hammers, looks like he actually just needs to go for it. Because, as you mentioned, Jurassic, we did see the lamp on Floating Island, probably very shortly here as confirmation on Dazed Cloud's side. We need, we still need a lot of stuff, right? So I guess, the fact that Paradox going back here into the back of Thieves Town is probably not unreasonable at this point because we don't really have that many checks left to go, right? We need something else.
I mean, we have Stumpy, we have Dig Game, Catfish.
Oh, good. We all love going to Catfish when we've already. Well, I guess no, we don't even have the mirror. We don't even have the mirror in order to because like at least Paradox maybe can combine it with with like Sora check. But he has made a very good decision because he found the myths here at Thieves Town.
Because of course the myths are French vanilla.
Yeah. Okay, so you pick up bits. Will you do Smith Chain potentially as you make your way south?
I guess you want to pick up the Smith and then try to get him back to CAC. It's a bit of a pain.
Yeah, I guess like and also I guess what else do Myths unlock? So Myths do unlock Kings 2. We're still looking for some sort of mountain access here, Drosy.
I mean, the logical mountain access is the flute, clearly.
Yes, and where are we going to end up finding this flute? Maybe that should just be the last item here at Thieves Town. We did find a small key in the maiden cell, so last items are going to be either here in the big chest or going to be on Bly himself.
Of course, it's on Blind.
Yep.
Oh,
so the suspense
was the map in the map chest in Hera, so there is an item in the basement.
That would be kind of mean of the sea, don't you think? In this case, it's like there's like no. Okay, sorry. There is a fire source in sight technically, but it's behind, as you said, Drosy, like 5 items or at this point or something. So where's that fire rod? And so then if you need to go find the fire source and were to go back to Hera basement for something, man, that would be mean.
Well, what do we even need for Go Mode at this point? I guess we need the rods. We don't know what Turtle Rock Medallion is. And we need the mirror for Swamp, and that's about it.
Yeah, actually,
Logically, we need the flute for the lamp, but since Myers a pendant, the flute may not be hard required.
Oh yeah, that's actually, yeah, you do actually bring up a very good point. We do, yes. Logically speaking, we would need the flute in order to get out here for Death Mountain access, but, honestly, like... So we know the flute's gonna show up from somewhere, but as you said, because Myers pendant, it may not have any more logical implications after that. Oh, that's right. Okay, so as part of the Smith chain, it does end up opening up hammer pegs, because now with those myths, we can actually get over here to hammer pegs.
And with those boots from Hype Cave, we can do it in a reasonable amount of time.
Yes, boots and sword. Speaking of, oh, this is a pretty nice find here on Paradox's side.
Can we call that French vanilla tempered?
Yeah, actually, it's literally just like, the Smiths are like, you know what, this sword is a defect. We're just gonna toss it in this cave that no one's gonna ever, like, bother even, like, looking at. And the Paradox just does. So, like, you know what, I'll take the sword. It's free. I don't even need to pay you 10 rupees for this.
Interesting call on Paradox's part to pick up Jeremiah and skip the dig game.
I want to say that he did dig game and Stumpy when he first came over to Hype Cave, maybe?
No, he went to Pod after Hype Cave.
Okay. I remember I thought he went to Stumpy at some point.
Did he?
But I guess that's what I thought I saw, but I also could just be misremembering.
Well, we're now doing the famous Jeremiah World Tour route.
And maybe this is going to be a consequence of mirrorless, fluteless...
Oh, yeah, right. Thanks, chat. Yes, he did do the dig game. It was just a very small number of digs. That's how it happened.
Yeah, okay. So in this case, then, right, so then he doesn't probably have to go down to, I guess, like, South Dark World. He doesn't have the mirror, unfortunately, so we can't even, like, do things like, check... well, we can't get into Swamp here, but we also can't check, like, a Buffalo's Tablet, for example. So
he's pretty well run out of stuff.
He does have a couple crystal dungeons at least he could finish, because...
There's also Magic Bat right here.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because he ended up picking up the powder from Skull Woods. That's a good reminder. And he doesn't have to worry about any portals or anything because he has the hammer, and it's not like we have the mirror anyway in order to create any portals.
So Dazed is also going to go through the front of Skull Woods, get his powder.
Powder and book. So I guess at this point then, so presumably at some point, Paradox is probably going to go over to like the Pod Eastern area and at least clear out those crystal dungeons. I think we saw confirmation on Dayside. Actually, I know that Eastern didn't have Armos didn't have an item. Did you happen to catch a Pod, if Helma had an item as well?
I already don't remember.
Yeah.
I just remember it wasn't anything important.
That's right.
I'm in a bad place today. If my brain just says unimportant, I can't remember whether that's unimportant item or unimportant dungeon item.
I think that's totally fair. Because so if there is nothing over in the Pod Eastern area, you know, maybe that's not going to be like an immediate destination. Just because, especially the mirror's going to show up at some point. You could just go over there in one more trip, right, and then just combine the two dungeons. It's just so you just clear out those last two crystals. Though looks like though we are going to continue on to the second part of the split chain. Unfortunately, as still no mirror, no flutes, lots of saving quits though.
But he then can go into desert from here, which might be our next progression, and he'll probably get Silver Zetagina while he's at it.
Oh right, yeah. He's like, I could have had this bow like way early in Sphere 1. Of course, the benefit of only needing to check North Dark World for what's on Thumper Ledge is that we can't even access Graveyard Ledge at this point because we don't have the mirror. So it looks like the purple chest yielding more bombs. Seems like everyone is very bomb friendly. And then presumably this is going to be a left to right desert area clear.
Yeah, does desert pretty much have to be our answer at this point?
Has to have something. Yeah, because I think we've seen everything else that is in logic.
Catfish.
Right? Oh, right. Oh man, that would be so sad. Oh yeah, actually, and I think according to Paradox's side, at least from his perspective, he hasn't done Zora yet either, right? Because he didn't have enough money when he was up there, and he never went back.
Oh, good old homemade beer in chat pointing out that we do have Ice Palace access with that Bombos.
Let's go into another pendant dungeon. I mean, yeah, he's 100% right, by the way. It's just, one of those things. It's just like you want to go into more crystal dungeons, and the seed, I guess, right now is not cooperating.
I mean, green pendant, that's 4 items that ice leads to.
Oh, yeah, that is certainly true. And I guess at least for Day's sake, if he decides to go to Ice Palace, hopefully he'll do hammer pegs before he goes over there. The fact that Paradox does have, Tempered Sword, it should at least make Holster, like a much easier time than, say, if you have, like, Master Sword. Alright, this looks, hopefully Days is going to stick around. Looks like he is, so this is going to be very good news for him.
No, as you said, this many hearts and red mail, death warping is so tough. In that amount of time, you might as well just do the back.
Yeah. Actually, you bring up a good point, Drosy. Probably take him, about even amount of time in order to try and death warp out of this dungeon than actually just to complete it, yeah.
So, I think we just came up completely empty in desert.
Looks like we're going to Ice Palace, if that's the case.
Or Catfish.
Or Catfish. Yeah, I guess, Squirtle, being the water Pokemon that he is, he has his freedom of choice in order to pick which water location he wants to go in, with the exception of Swamp Palace.
But I guess the thing about Ice is that the flippers haven't led us to anything yet. Sure, we'll need them for Swamp, but we haven't gotten the mirrors, so Swamp's off the table, so... The flippers might be pointing us to Ice. But looks like Paradox is doing Dark Death Mountain, which is still out of logic without the flute.
Yeah. But you know, I think as both these runners have currently demonstrated so far, you know, for example, Dazed and Paradox both have sequence breakout, let's say dark rooms. You know, logic is merely a suggestion to them, especially if it's just only dark room logic. But I guess like with these mitts and hammer, we are going to be able to take a quick peek at what is our entry into Turtle Rock today, and if it's bombos, we could potentially go.
It is also possible that the progression the seed is pointing us to in Ice Palace is just the flute.
Just in order to get our Dark World, our Death Mountain access, right?
Right.
Yeah.
If we say find the mirror up here, then it's almost certainly the case that that was what the seed was pointing us to in ice.
All right, so it is bombos. Is Paradox going in? He has the Cane of Samaria. We can see how far he can get before he gets locked out.
With no rods, yeah.
It's okay. So probably, I don't know, maybe it's like best case or worst case scenario. You know, he just gets the first chest, and then you know he gets like the big key or something. So then he can't keep going, right? Probably the worst feeling, especially if nothing is in there, he just basically can make it all the way to.
Did you see a Marith seed the other day?
I did not. What ended up happening?
There was Bombos and Crystal Roller chest to get you into Ice Palace to get the fire rod out of Big Key chest in Ice Palace.
Really? that's awful.
Okay, there's the
mirror. Not awful.
Here.
Yeah, speaking of not awful, we have the mirror, so we actually can now get into every single water-related area. Some of them more in logic than others.
And you do pick up the lamp here because you still don't have a fire source.
Yeah, that's right. So actually, do you think they're gonna go? He's gonna go back into like Duhara basement and potentially Spike Cave? Maybe not, right? Maybe not. There are, you know, there's whole Swamp Palace open. I'm not sure if that's going to be kind of worth his time. But, you know, if you want to be more thorough, that is certainly another option for him.
Yeah, I mean, you have the mirror checks down below. You have all of Swamp, as you said.
We have Catfish. Paradox still has Zora left to check. Oh, actually, yeah, that actually might be another option for him, right? Because he has the mirror now, he can combine at least Catfish and Zora together if you were going to go over to that area. Okay, so it looks like a save and quit on Paradox's side after picking up some light and fire. This looks like, you know, even though this option is technically still, as you said, Drosy, out of logic, it is another crystal dungeon that we can fully clear. We have the mirror in order to get into Swamp Palace. We have the flipper, so we can swim into the first area of Swamp Palace. And probably most importantly, we also have, in this case, the hook shot, so we don't have to get locked out of anything. Or, you know, if we're going to do left side swamp, we don't have to jump down twice.
Yeah, so we're just in rod mode now, aren't we?
Oh yeah, looks like it. For our runner's sake, I hope the ice rod shows up first. that would be quite nice.
Yes.
Of course, you know, knowing this game, the ice rod is almost certainly going to be one of the last items that we end up finding.
So Chad is saying about flute, but the thing about flute is, as far as we know, the flute is not hard required. It was just our logical access to Death Mountain. Now, it could be that one of the rods is in Mire, in which case the flute is hard required, or Mire's Shed, or Checkerboard Cave.
Yeah. All right, though, with 6 potential items here in Swamp Palace, you know, this is certainly a very reasonable position or location for a Paradox to explore. All right, big key in the first chest. Probably on the nicer side to be able to see, because we can at least check the big chest on our first trip in here. I mean, though we don't have Paradox's sound on, we did see the fireball like kind of clink on his fire shield, so it's certainly really nice usage there. All right, though, looks like the meanwhile Daze Cloud is, you know, basically kind of like mirroring, or not specifically mirroring, right, but kind of following along Paradox's route after Thieves Town. Gonna do his Smith chain checks, his powder, probably end up making very similar checks in this case. It might seem like that Days Cloud is a little bit behind in terms of progress, but certainly do keep in mind that Days Cloud also has cleared out both Eastern and Pod crystals. So there's going to be a little bit of a time difference.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Paradox will lose time by double dipping them. He'll save time by actually having a lamp while double dipping them.
Yeah. And I guess, not to mention, like, Paradox will have silvers and tempered over Days. What I think he had, like, Fighter Sword, right? Or something?
Yeah. So our first item in Swamp is just a piece of heart.
I'm glad you caught that, because, as you said earlier, like, once you see something that's, like, not worth your time, it just goes out, you know, just
well,
like, one in one eye, out the other.
The map chest was just the big key, and then the compass chest was vanilla.
Okay.
And Dazed is going to get his mirror here. He did not do hammer pegs, it appears.
It looks like he didn't end up going back over to pick up the purple chest. I think that's when Paradox ended up doing that. Right? Well, he just kind of saved the put out of
I guess now that he has the mirror, that might be a more attractive play. Who knows?
Left side swamp, always a trek, but we are finally able to at least see the fruits of our labor in order to be able to see what is here in the back two chests.
And when you're still 2 items from go mode, I think it's totally reasonable to do left first.
Yeah. Alright, item number 1. At least it's 1 item, so we are going to be... Oh, no, we knew there was at least 1 item over here. Oh, wow, okay. That's... I mean, so certainly Paradox is not a runner in need of a gold sword, but it is interesting locations, at least for us, to know. Now we know where all 4 swords are. So... hopefully, Daze is going to pick up at least one of them in his path.
Yeah, now what's interesting is I think Daze does Desert before he does Swamp, because he'll now have the lamp.
Oh yeah, that is certainly true. And he's got silver arrows, right? So this is going to be like a pretty fast ammo kill.
Yeah, he decided to follow the mitts before he followed the book.
Mm-hmm. So pretty quick diver down on Paradox's side. Unfortunately, just 25 rupees in here in the Desert Swamp.
So only 1 more item in the map.
I guess that's our 1 item left, Jossie.
Yeah, so Butter Sword and a whole lot of junk. Ooh, and Dazed is gonna do Spike Cave.
Yeah, looks like it. Looks like he's gonna opt to not do Hera Basement. Even though he does have the lamp, it looks like he's at least going to try out Spike Cave here. Alright, so Gold Sword with Hookshot and Silver Arrows. Hopefully this should be a relatively straightforward fight for Paradox. And Red Mail, so even I think by the time runners have like Blue Mail, they're probably, you know, already kind of like, say, like less conscious, I guess, about their damage taken, but with Red Mail, I think they just probably just ignore everything. It's a really nice shot, shooting arrow for phase 2, so down goes Arcus.
Okay, is Dazed going to Swamp for all that?
He might just be doing the Dark World portal, maybe? Or maybe he's just going to Swamp.
No, or maybe he's going around this way.
Oh, he could do, I was gonna say, maybe does he want to do more overworld stuff?
Bombos.
Yeah. Do you think he'll check K45 before going into Swamp? Because he does have the mirror now.
Bombos could be en route to Desert. I mean, Desert's fewer items, but it's a lot less annoying than Swamp, so...
That is true, and it's
I'd probably do Desert before
Swamp. Oh, wow, that is a really nice find for Days Cloud. So he is... Yeah, he is in Fire Rod Go mode for the time being, and you really want to be able to see that Vice Rush show up before Fire Rod. you don't want to keep, especially one of the worst decisions, right, that you may have to make, but seemingly somewhat common, is you pick up the fire rod, and then you don't have the ice rod, and you decide, am I going to go into Total Rock looking for the ice
Okay,
rod?
so this is... Oh, and it looks like Paradox is about to get his ice rod too, but this is interesting routing on Dave's part. He preserves his portal so that when he finishes Desert, he can run back and do Swamp.
Alright, Paradox, as you said, picks up his ice rod as well. So both of them are just gonna look for, where is that fire rod, Drosy? Also, where's that flute? We're still missing some stuff here.
I mean, the flute, I think we determined, has to be in either ice or catfish, most likely ice, including on the green pendant or mushroom turning up and it being on mushroom.
I guess I'm kind of curious to see if we're even going to find the flute here to begin with, right? I mean, maybe eventually they'll have to go into, dipping another pendant dungeon or something, but, they just kind of end up finding fire rod along the way.
Yeah, though we're starting to run out of spots for fire rod. I mean, it could be on Landmos. And that opens Pyramid Fairy too for Dazed.
Oh yeah, that's also a good point.
Though, given routing, you probably do Swamp before you, and then do Pyramid Fairy immediately after Swamp. Maybe even take that into Catfish.
Catfish is somewhat like it's like one of those like fever dreams that sometimes you may not even remember it exists after you have so much that's more lucrative to do in front. But it actually does kind of sound like a nice planned out path, right? Looks like that we are going to be able to get some simultaneous landmos action. Good thing both runners have silver swords because, silver arrows, not silver swords, because the sword difference between Paradox and Daze right now is pretty significant. And so the other two swords, for those of you who may not have caught them earlier, one was in Hammer Pegs, and the other one was on Left Side Swamp.
So, okay, just to make a prediction, I'm going to predict half magic on landmos.
Okay, alright. You can see, basically, don't even necessarily have to time the arrows too well. Paradox is going to be just taking out his gold sword and just slashing them.
And it was just junk on landmos for all that.
Yeah. They are actually evened out at 12 heart containers shortly apiece. Good thing they have the mirror, right, Drosy?
So, short of going into Ice Palace, what haven't we seen at this point? We haven't seen Pyramid Fairy, Catfish, Graveyard Ledge.
Oh, right, yeah. Speaking of, the spots that are now opened up by the mirror.
Hera Basement, and however far we can go into TR.
I think it'd be really funny, by the way, if Fire Rod was just in the first chest of Turtle Rock.
Entirely possible.
I think what would be kind of mean, though, of the seed is like, you put like a small key, right, so you can keep going, and then you find the fire rod later, and then you have to go back, to the beginning, right, and get the big key out of the roller room.
So Paradox is gonna finish off Pod now. Let's see how Dazed handles Swamp. There are 2 items on left side, but he's also only 1 item from Go Mode now, so that makes left side a bit less attractive.
Yeah, presumably, maybe with only 1 item left to go, you will at least skip the left side of it first. I guess we know, though, that there are going to be 2 items left, as we saw on Paradox's side, so I guess the decision will probably come later for him as to whether or not he wants to go back in.
Hey, Clear Mouse.
What's up, Drosy?
I just had a thought.
What is your thought, Drosy?
Head is not dead yet.
Oh, good, Drosy. That is, man, when are they gonna want to go visit Pedestal in order to go check it? Considering we need a fire rod here for Go Mode, a Skull Woods is a crystal, and by the time you go over there willingly, you're gonna have the fire rod, presumably, so you get the back.
Right.
Oh, man. All right, at least for Paradox, this is going to be mostly just going to be a straight shot here to the back of Armos, and unfortunately, or what we may not have seen basically on Days Cloud side, he ended up having a bit of some issues here on the back, but Paradox, you know, gold sword, silver arrows, doesn't even need to like aim anything, he just slashed the Igor, and we can see everything, right?
Yeah.
He basically just,
that
he
was
just flies through that room.
that was a considerably faster time in that
Oh,
room than
yeah.
Days Cloud had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately, I think in contrast, right, Days had the bow, like regular wooden arrows, and he had like 5 hearts, I think, to his name, and no sword, right? So, like, couldn't even use a medallion or anything. Alright, silver arrows, of course, makes any Igor, or in this case, any Armos, just going to be one-shotted.
And what's Days gonna do here? He is going for the back.
Alright. So, okay, so, yeah.
He'll miss a sword upgrade if he never does left, but he'll certainly save time.
Yes. Oh man. It would be really, really great for Days if he gets one of the swords upgrades. So certainly, you know, especially for runners of this caliber, they, you know, are plenty accustomed basically to like never seeing the gold sword for, I don't know, like 95% of their seats, right? But the difference though between Master Sword and any sword upgrade, any more sword upgrades is pretty big.
But I think if you're Dazed, you do Pyramid Fairy right after this, and then Catfish and then Ice? Unless you want to avoid Ice so bad that you do Smith Chain.
Yeah, I was gonna
remains
say,
of it.
yeah, so, okay, so, you know, so after Swamp, you know, seems like a very natural progression towards Pyramid Fairy, and then everything else you kind of said after that, Jossie, doesn't really seem as appealing anymore,
Well,
right?
you know, the thing is, from the pyramid, it's not that bad to get to Catfish. If you're ever going to do it, you do it then. And then
yes,
you mirror
that is
and
true.
Whirlpool, and you're at Ice.
Yeah, no, that is, I think that's really reasonable. It's just that, like, nobody ever likes going to Catfish, right? It's like, you know, it's like already, like, a part of one of the lure spots in the game.
No one ever likes going independent Ice either.
Oh. That, you know, Oh, yeah, actually, another thought, though. Maybe with Catfish combination, Days could also potentially hook over real quick to check Graveyard Ledge. And then hook back. Or whatever, jump and swim back, right?
Yeah, that's entirely doable.
Another contrast here in Dark Turtle's room for Paradox versus Days Cloud. You know, Days Cloud also did take, by the way, a really good job taking care of the turtles in the dark, but, you know, as we can see, the fact that we can't see the turtles here on Paradox's side with Gold Sword has much easier time.
Chad is saying that they like going to Catfish, and to that, all I have to say is, did you find a sword in Catfish, though? Did you? And by the way, if you haven't watched last night's race between Tam and Relkin, I highly recommend the VOD of that. That was a phenomenal race. But yeah, you think Paradox will do Pyramid Fairy now?
Oh, that is also a good point. He is probably going to save and quit. There's not going to be much else. We still, you know, don't really have food for fast travel. But yeah, that is certainly going to be a viable option for him because Pod is on his other 5/6 crystal here. Although, looks like though, you know, what's up?
That Paradox saved and quit. I mean, I guess it is a bit of a walkout from Pod and probably faster to do Pyramid Fairy from this portal.
Yeah. Walking out of Pod is like you don't really want to do it unless I think you don't have any other choice.
It's kind of like walking into Mordor.
Yes. Except there's you know, I think the scenery is even worse here. You know, there's not even like a big eye kind of to like show you like where to go. Although, so for better or for worse, Days Cloud is back in doing the left side of Swamp. It was actually kind of looks like a pretty nice diver down here with Canis and Maria. So the good news, of course, that we saw in Paradox's side is that Days Cloud is going to be able to pick up his sword. Probably from his perspective, it might be considering to be worth it. He might be, I don't know, as long as he never sees that fourth sword in Hammer Pegs, he'll probably think this is going to be worthwhile.
I do think, though, this distinctly gives Paradox a lead, because Days Cloud is then going to do the same thing, and it's entirely possible that Days just follows Paradox footsteps from here on out.
Yeah, it looks like though, as you said, you're right. So Paradox is actually going to be just a little bit faster getting into Pyramid Fairy. So do we have our Fire Rod today? We do not have a Fire Rod, but we do have a free bottle filled with another bee. Okay, so maybe if Days does that, he'll be happier.
So, in case you were wondering just how much time Days Cloud lost doing Eastern and Pod without the lamp, consider that Paradox had to double dip Desert, double dip Eastern, double dip Pod, and is still ahead. Slightly.
Very yeah, but no, I mean, it's just quite. It's not something I think you necessarily would have expected out of the seed. All right, though, as you said, it looks like though Dazed is kind of just following along right now, at least for in Paradox's step. Going to try and do Pyramid Fairy, so he's going to go pick up his bottle and maybe with a bee inside. All right, so this is at least going to give us some new checks. Looks like Paradox is going to hook over and give us a quick little overview of what is inside Graveyard Ledge. And then presumably he's going to basically go back and then do Pyramid. He's going to do Captain Sora. So, Fire Rod before Flute, Jossie? Anyone?
I don't know. It is looking increasingly likely of being besides going into Ice Palace, is there anything now we haven't seen besides Catfish?
We haven't seen Harrow Basement?
Oh, right. And we haven't seen however far we can get into Turtle Rock.
Yeah, but man, this is... So that does not sound like a very good decision to make. Like, do you make another mountain trip up, right, to sit through Harrow Basement, to see how far you potentially can make it to Turtle Rock, or do you stay here, not climb the mountain, and go through Pendant Ice?
Well, and there is the whole Rule of Fire thing that we were given Bombos. Now, Bombos is access to Turtle Rock as well as access to Ice Palace.
That is true. Yeah. So I think these runners are probably more than familiar as well with the "fire begets fire" mantra here that has been coined.
Yeah. So could be in Turtle Rock though, and consistent with that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Dazed is really not much farther behind in this case, Paradox, because so Paradox actually still had to go through Zora, and by the time that Dazed ends up kind of getting over to Catfish and finishing, it's actually going to be very, very close.
And Dazed can then just dive directly into Ice, whereas Paradox will have to figure out what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, swimming out of the Zora area as well is also really not very fast, right? So it could be a save and quit, which it is, so what is Paradox going to do? Mountain? Link's house? Mountain?
Ooh.
Okay.
So and Paradox hasn't done Spike Cave either.
Oh, yeah.
Did Paradox even do Ether Tablet? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so, because they got the book after at least he came up the mountain, I guess, for the second time. And yeah, actually, so this actually is an interesting point, because, so Dazed had already done Spike Cave, and that's actually a pretty long check, right? And so Paradox, actually, the fact that he's up here is going to have to do a little bit longer. He's going to have to spend a little bit more time up here than Dazed.
Right, but Dazed has isolated Harrow Basement, so if it is in Harrow Basement, first of all, that would still follow the Rule of Fire because we needed the lamp to get it.
That is true.
Second of all, Dazed completely isolated it.
We are going to get our check. We are waiting with bated breath here for anticipation. Oh my gosh! Wow!
It was so both rods on tablets. Paradox is in go mode.
That is nuts. Wow.
I'm now mystified why Days didn't check Ether tablet.
Did he have the book though? But when he was up here,
he did Skullwoods before that because he did Skullwoods before Thieves Town, and he needed to do Thieves Town to get the mitts to get up there to begin with.
Yeah, because when he did all of Dark Death Mountain, he got his mirror and then jumped down from Hera to do Spike Cave. Oh man.
Yeah, and he made a point of doing Bombos, and I was thinking, I don't remember him doing Ether, but he must have done Ether because he was right there before Spike Cave. And it's such a quick check once you're up there anyway. So, unfortunately, Dazed is going to get the flute and nothing else in here.
Oh, and you know where the flute's going to probably lead him, Drosy?
Right.
Yeah, that is not an item that you necessarily want to find. Alright, though, at least, Paradox, though, has found his go item, as you said, on Ether tablet. With both items, of course, already taken out of the front of Skullwoods, he's going to basically go straight to the back. And, yeah, so at this point, the equipment that Paradox has to his name is, he is, like, the most, like, powerful Squirtle you'll ever meet in all of Hyrule.
Yeah, we may just have one of those high moth, buy moth fights. There's the mushroom. That's probably where the flute is.
Oh my gosh, dude. I mean, imagine. Okay, so, okay, at least Daze is a cross-speed runner, right? So he does know, like, you start at Link's house and you can, like, swim over, but it's like, typically speaking, right, you would really like to have the flute when you go turn it into mushroom, but if the flute is on mushroom, you don't really have an option.
This is just unfortunate. This is 99% GG's.
With this equipment, it is certainly Paradox race to lose. However, we have seen, wackier things that have happened
Certainly.
in the in-game.
But we will have to ask Dazed why he skipped Ether Tablet. There's the flute, not on mushroom.
Alright, okay. So we did find, did we find all three items? I mean, we found the flute, we found the mushroom.
Daze now wants to hedge against the fire rod being on green pendant.
Yeah, I mean, you're already here. Like, you're so close, right, to Cold Stare. You've got Tempered Sword. You've got, Bomb. Like, it's not going to be that slow a fight for you, right? I think from Dace's perspective, this is actually very reasonable. And as you said, this is basically just taking out insurance, right? But of course, what we saw from Paradox's side, unfortunately, we know where the fire rod is.
But just remember, the Seed wanted us to go into Ice Palace before we could get the lamp or the fire rod.
Yeah, that is actually really, like, the logic is quite... the logic chain before the lamp is actually quite long. Yeah, you have to get your mitts right out of the back of Pen and Thieves Town in order to dive into ice. In order to get your flute to activate it to go up the mountain, then you can end up getting your lamp, so you can get the fire rod. How do you think Paradox right now is feeling? Hopefully good?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, you're in go mode. The items were in awful locations. Dazed is probably not feeling very good.
Yeah, that is certainly possible. Yeah, and you're looking at what we've kind of seen on Paradox's side, right? So we both know that in this case they had to do backup into Thieves Town in order to get the mitts. But honestly, like from Paradox's perspective, he has not seen the flute yet, so he can't even get tempted into going to Mire, right? So he can't dip that pendant dungeon, and he completely avoided Ice Palace. So didn't have to go dip two basically full pendant dungeons is certainly a pretty good feeling. And it might just be more countered with the fact that he did have to basically double dip like 3 crystal dungeons, right, without that bow. Alright, meanwhile though, looks like Daze has activated his flute. What are the chances do you think he's gonna go up the mountain immediately, Drosy?
Oh, is he finishing off Smith Chain before he does anything else?
Yeah, looks like it. And he does have, so he can do hammer pegs, pick up the purple chest, and then maybe just mirror over and then flute to like spot 7. Hopefully Daze, based on the fact that he did left side swamp for his temper sword, isn't going to feel too bad necessarily for seeing that he's going to be able to pick up his gold sword here. Yeah, meanwhile though, Paradox looks like he is actually making some pretty dang good progress. Gold sword equipped with silver arrows. Just needs to get through basically the respiratory rock. He doesn't even need to go and check out Mimic Cave. He has everything he could possibly want in order to complete the scene. Oh right, Daze Cloud turns him in mushroom. All right, let's see this purple chest. I just can't remember in this case what Paradox ended up getting out of it, which is just bombs. Okay, not worthwhile in our time.
And the mushroom wasn't much of anything. Of course, what could it be at this point?
Maybe another heart container? Man, I mean, it's like... I don't know if there's anything that could possibly help him in this case.
Of course he's going to Meyer.
Yeah, that is... I mean, this is where...
Also, why did he skip hammer pegs for all that?
I think he just wanted maybe to do it with purple chest, maybe?
He just did purple chest and didn't do hammer pegs.
Oh no, he did, right? I think maybe he just didn't pick up the sword if he didn't, because he has tempered,
okay,
right?
I was just saying that he's still untempered.
Yeah.
Didn't feel it was worth it. I see.
Yeah, probably at this point, right? The value of you getting gold sword probably, at least looks like according to Daze, isn't even going to be worth like the 5 seconds or whatever it's going to take to pick it up. All right, so at least Daze, for our benefit as viewers, we're going to get a couple more checks out of him. We probably know that there's not going to be much else. I guess we're still lacking some potentially good safeties. Half magic maybe being one of them. I doubt they're going to want the bug net or need the bug net at this point, but that is still out there somewhere. And of course, as probably predicted, since we are in this area, we checked out Checkerboard Cave, we checked out Meyer Shed. There are 2 more items here in Meyer itself, including that last pendant that potentially still could hold our fire rod in the pedestal. Meanwhile, though, it looks like Paradox is already on Trinex, probably just because of how the heads move. Looks like he probably can't necessarily get the 0 cycle, but still is able to take down Trinex pretty quickly. Alright, phase 2, taken care of with the gold sword. Speaking of more French vanilla locations, Trinex ends up dropping the mirror shield for us. Certainly very useful after we've gone through the laser bridge. Maybe maybe Paradox will decide to stand in front of some eye lasers to get some usage out of that shield. Maybe, you know, one could hope, right?
Oh yeah, so that is 7 crystals.
Yeah, so I guess with 7 crystals, I do see a couple numbers here in chat, Drosy. Know anything about this?
Yes, there are 22 locations to check in GT Basement for the big key. Some people are spamming numbers from 1 to 22. Feel free to pile on there. What do you think, Clearmouse?
What do I think? I would probably like this. Let's go somewhere in the middle. Let's say 14. Ish. 14. That's not really that middle, but it's middle enough.
Yeah, I'll go more middle and say 10. No one's actually taken it. No one's taken 14 either.
Okay, all right. So let's see what Paradox is interested in how to route GT basement. So it looks like he's going to take at least starting out one of two common paths. Gonna go check the torch, go go left to Stalfo's room, and then presumably mirror out with a guaranteed small key that's going to get on the left side, and then go to Compass room, Hope and Compass. Alright. Oh yeah, that's right. We also have Kane Samara and Half Magic. Wow. Okay, Stalfo's room is just
wow, that was a really weird location for Landmos.
Yeah. And so fast too, right, Jossie? It's like right. You can just take care of them lickety splits.
but I said Half Magic was on Landmos, so it must have been on Landmos.
That's right, and we know that commentators are never wrong in anything that they ever say. We have a lot of small keys suddenly. Did you see that? We have 4 small keys already.
Though during Cross Keys week, we actually briefly saw a runner with the fabled 6 small keys in GT.
No way, really? That is a lot. I guess that means all of GT is basically in Logic. Assuming you have the big key, of course, too.
Meanwhile, Dazed found the vanilla big key in Meyer. So Meyer is really a time sink today.
Yeah, and presumably at this point, Daze has the Thieves Town pendant, he has the Ice Palace Green pendant. I mean, he did, I believe, already turn it in for nothing worthwhile, so at this point, I think even if he does find both items up front, which I guess I haven't quite seen yet, he's probably going to at least go kill Vitreous anyway, just as you said, right? Like, this is probably going to be another insurance.
And notice, by the way, that Paradox did not take the small key after Compass Chest because he still has 3 small keys, so what's one more?
You gotta save every little piece of time, I guess, that you can.
So the question is Dazed going all in and pulling Pet after this?
What other options would you want? I mean, he's already avoided the mountain, basically, like, so far, so I think he almost have to, right? Especially it looks like he's going to the back, so once you have all 3 pendants, I think this has to be something that you do. And maybe from his perspective, right? If the fire rod is really actually on pedestal, it'll actually be very convenient, because Skull Woods is just right there, right? So he'll go to the pedestal, pull it, get the fire rod, and then just open it up.
Oh. Well, there was our big key. I think that was 13. So you were only off by 1?
I was, but I mean, Jossie, we always play by Price is Right rules. It is too high, so unfortunately I don't get to win anything.
Yes, and 65K10 got it exactly.
Yeah. Alright, so of course with the GT big key found, this is going to be probably one of hundreds, if not thousands, of GT climbs that both of these runners have gone through. Meanwhile, though, as Paradox is going to make his climb, looks like Daze Cloud is very closely nearing Vitreous, not Lambos. Those have the silver arrows out, so this should be a relatively fast fight. Not even going to care about if these eyes basically hurt him because he's got red dress, male. Oh, that's actually really nice arrow snipe there on the Stalfos on Paradox's side as he starts to climb the gauntlet.
And that is 3 pendants for Dazed Cloud. Doesn't get you into GT, but it does get you to Ped.
Yeah, and the hope, of course, on Dazed Cloud's side is if the Fire Rod really is on pedestal, it's going to be very convenient. Well, at least at this point, it's conveniently placed. It's not, from maybe his perspective, conveniently located because he had to go kill, all 3 pendant dungeons for this.
Here's the flute to 3. What are we going to find? Just a little bit of love?
Oh, it looks like the Daze is actually going to opt to just pull pedestal directly. Not even going to take the portal over.
That's true, because if Ped were Fire Rod, you'd want to have a mirror portal to then immediately finish Skull Woods.
Right. He does have a book here. Is he gonna read it? Oh, days. Wait, why couldn't we pull the pedestal fly?
Oh, so it was a whole lot of love.
Yeah, looks like it's gonna be a heart container. Man. You know, maybe Days, for our benefit, you know, he just wanted to preserve the Lost Woods music for as long as he possibly can. Because once you pull the pedestal, you can no longer hear the Lost Woods music track, which is, you know, really disappointing. Because it's actually one of the best tracks in the game.
Yeah, and the fog clears.
Yeah, you apparently you want to like see or something. It's like a built-in lamp. once you pull the pedestal.
So, as Paradox approaches Moldorm 2, Dazed is approaching Go mode.
Hopefully he's not gonna. Yeah, hopefully he's not gonna feel too bad once he ends up picking up the fire rod here.
Because he was right here half an hour ago.
You know, the important part, Drosy, is that Dazed Cloud has reached Go mode at always at 1 hour 28 minutes, and he doesn't have to sit through Hair Basement.
But yeah, if he had checked Ether Tablet, he would have been in Go mode as soon as he checked Bombos Tablet.
Yeah, no, that's actually a really good point.
Could have had a really fast time through Desert and Swamp.
Yeah, actually, presumably, if you checked, you're right, as we said, so if you checked Ether Tablet first, gotten his Fire Rod, right, chances are, because he is only one item from Go mode, maybe he would have actually checked Bombos Tablet first, right? And then he could just Go mode Swamp too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in addition to like everything else. Well, that is quite the difference. All right, so we are three. Well, sorry.
Hey, was that a triple?
What was it?
I think that was a triple.
Okay, so we have one so far on cycle 2.
Nope, it was just a double on cycle 1 then.
Alright, looks like then we need one more hit. Yeah, I was gonna say, so we have one real wizard and 2 fake wizards standing in our way to go face the final boss of this game, which is not the ball and chain card, if you're more acquainted with standard starts, but is actually, in fact, Ganon, who has like a big trident and stuff.
I mean, Kiss Priest the Ball and Chain Guard is the final boss, right? Or is it the Key Rat?
It depends if you have boots. I think that was the consensus. Because if you have boots, you can actually like dash and kill the key rat. But then, like, you know, if you don't have boots, you kind of have to, you know, end up trying to slash the rat the old-fashioned way. Did Daze forget that he had the hook shot when he was in Roller Room? Because he definitely went the opposite direction.
Yeah, that was kind of surprising.
Alright, so, yeah, we don't actually get often see Gold Sword on Ganon, so we don't even need to worry about getting, like, the 1-1 or anything like that. It's just 6 slashes for every face. And we can see that already, you know, looks like actually without too much effort, or at least noticeable effort, Paradox already got Ganon on phase 3, just needs to stand still for a couple more teleports, and then we can shoot 4 more silver arrows into him, and Paradox is pretty close to victory here.
Gets the torch glitch. Keep spamming the lamp as though he hadn't already gotten the torch glitch.
Yeah, alright. Looks like we have an exploding blue Ganon in a semi-well-lit room. Paradox just needs to go through this fanfare, cross the bridge, and claim first place in this league match of Open Week. Get your GGs out in chat for Paradox claiming first place.
With an official time of 1:31:40, followed almost immediately by a forfeit from Dazed Cloud.
That is very understandable. You know, Dazed at least did reach Go mode, and looks like he was maybe halfway, partially, most of the way through Turtle Rock. Alright, so certainly, though, get your G's on chat for Dazed Cloud. Looks like it was actually just maybe, you know, one mishap of a turn or something like that. We'll definitely end up getting some questions into our runners.
We have both of them here, though. GG's, guys.
GG's?
GG's.
So, let's discuss Ether Tablet and why neither of you checked it.
Let's not.
You're right.
I mean-
Tablets don't exist.
I also felt dumb when I didn't do it. I realized after I got the lamp, I shouldn't have save and quit and went to the Bumble's tablet. Well, if Fire Rod was there, that was pretty bad on my part.
That was better than when I finally went back for it. So I mean,
Yeah.
I dashed over to do Spike Cave and just totally forgot about it. And if I had done it then, I think I finished probably, I don't know, 15 minutes earlier than when I forfeited. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea at that point because I mean, I would have gone to Bombo's tablet before Swamp, gotten my Ice Rod, and then go moded 4
Swamp?
dungeons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot.
I mean, I feel really dumb right now.
Oh, don't feel. I mean, like this is kind of how randomizer sometimes works, right? It's sometimes you end up getting punished, probably more harsher than normal, just because the one place that you end up skipping, right, had the progression that you needed. It happens. It's rando, right?
We both did the same mistake. You just went to ice, and I didn't. I knew the flute was there, but I didn't want to go to my. I still had Spike Cave and Era to do the basement, so I went for the tablet and Era check.
Worked
It
out
was-
for you, bud. GG's, by the way. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually really, I would say, like, it was a pretty interesting race to watch. Especially, so it looks like, I think both of you ended up seeking breaking the mountain after you got the hook shot, right? Still, with, of course, no flute, no lamp, right? But with the hook shot and gloves, you went up, and then when we saw lamp on floating island, we're like, okay, all right, so flute has to show up somewhere. And as you demonstrated, Dazed, you found the flute inside ice and paradox. I mean, you might have been doing a very good job, basically keeping track of all your sequence breaks, because I don't think you ever found the flute, right?
Yeah. Well, at the end there was only catfish, pyramid, and ice that would have been that would have added the flute. So
Well, you checked pyramid.
I checked everything there overall. I had the mountain and ice pass left at the end.
Yeah, and it seemed like, given how twisted the game's logic was, that Flute was going to be in Ice Palace because the flippers had to lead to something since you got them relatively early.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to skip the flute. I mean, I wasn't happy when it showed up because I didn't know that it wasn't on. I kind of thought that it was possibly on Purple Chest, so I was like, I'm not gonna do that. And then when it showed up there, I was just like, oh, okay. Well, maybe this is Meyer. Well, maybe this is a Ped Seed. And at the same time, I'm like, man, I'm looking at my tracker and I'm noticing, oh yeah, right, Ether Tablet. And so when I went ahead and I finished everything, I'm just going to myself, okay, I'm not dead. I'm not dead if it's in Hera Basement. If it's in Hera Basement, that's a skip that I just kind of like shrug my shoulders about and just go like, yeah, okay, no big deal. But when it dropped off the Ether Tablet, I was just like, I'm gonna forfeit now. But it's like he wasn't quite done yet. I had to wait another minute. And then it was just like a moment I saw it, like I pulled up my I never pull up the race room there. I pulled up the race room and I was just like, please just finish. I want to get out of here. I hate open.
I mean, you certainly took one for the team then, if that's the case, making the sacrifice in order to be willing to play this week for what it's worth.
Thanks, Chimo. Hope you had fun on vacation, buddy.
Oh yeah,
Thanks.
that's right. Yeah, you are being a good teammate.
Yeah, it's all good. I'll be all right. I mean, I'm not that worried about it by any means. I mean, just means next week we get to have a nice relegation match with Les French Canadiens. So that's gonna be fun times.
That is true, and I haven't looked to see, like, if they win their remaining match this week, and then you guys split next week, how does that work out?
Pistols at dawn.
We have to get up at
Probably.
dawn? Oh, Days, don't you know you live on the other side of the world, right? I mean, like,
Dawn?
we don't want dawns anywhere.
Dawn for me is like 7 o'clock for you. Okay, you don't need to worry about it. All right, 7 p.m. for
All
you is
right,
like not a problem. But yeah, GG's to Paradox. Thanks guys for putting this on. I'm gonna do something else.
You are going to remember Ether Tablet for next time.
No.
No. All right. I mean, yeah, it was certainly very nice to be able to, watch you guys run. Certainly, I was still a pretty good execution though throughout. It just happens to be this case that routing probably had a bigger impact in this particular race. So. Yeah, so I guess, yeah, so you mentioned that this was your last week, right? So next week, do you guys know who's going to be playing for you guys? Because it's co-op Randomizer, am I not mistaken?
Yeah, I think we're against, did you check your boot? This will be interesting, I think.
The matchup or Randomizer?
The matchup.
Okay.
Randomizer is always, I mean, it's the reflexes of enemies and all. It's we'll see.
Well, should be nice to, for you guys to at least wrap up your seasons with some co-op play.
Do you have any words of intimidation for potentially your next week's opponents in chat listening? Paradox?
Well, not really.
Not really. Okay.
That's my first time entering League, so that's my first win.
Oh, congratulations! If that's the case.
I didn't do great this season. I was hoping to have at least 2 or 3 wins, but I got unlucky. I just hope to get lucky next week and have a better routing in general.
Rando is about improvement, and especially in the Invitational League, this place is pretty scary. Like the talent and the skill average and ceiling are just like ridiculously high. So the fact that you're here, right, and competing certainly says still something about you. But certainly best of luck to you next week, and to your co-op partner. Hopefully you guys at least can have some fun.
Thank you. Thank you for commentating, guys. And, thanks for SpeedGaming, as always, for the restream. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was certainly a lot of fun. Any other thoughts, Ross? I'll let you have the final words.
I think that's all I have. I haven't even checked the schedule lately to see what else is coming up. I think that's all we have for League right now, actually, on SpeedGaming, though we do have some open races going on the ALTTPR League channels. So, if you want to see teams duking it out in the Open League, we do have, in fact, a couple of races on that began at 9:10, both on the ALTTPR League, Adalor versus Tony T. Young, and the ALTTPR League 2, Kaysden versus Pool Float. So those should be good races, both still going. Check them out.
Yeah, looks like though tomorrow starting at 11 a.m. is going to be a couple more invitational leagues. Certainly keep your eyes on the schedule. Looks like Scary Olive versus F. Coughlin, 11 a.m. tomorrow at SpeedGaming 2. Then at noon it's going to be Fusan versus Kermit. These are actually some pretty good matches, Rossi.
Yeah. And we also have a Saturday morning 3 a.m. match. Just wanted to shout that out right now. It's European, so it'll be 9 a.m. for them. Still fairly early on a Saturday morning to be racing.
Yeah, I see Top Life's name there. I understand now.
But if you want to have a really late Friday night and you're in North America, that's a heck of a match time.
That's like Twilight Rando, right? Or Dawn to Dusk. I don't even know Midnight Rando. I don't even know what part of the night that is anymore.
But yeah, once again, GG's to our runners. And of course, thanks to our tracker, Scott G, especially wrestling with the slightly defective tracker that we had tonight. Long story. And Clear Mouse, thanks a lot. I'm glad we could finally do this.
Oh yeah, that was this was definitely a blast. I certainly look forward to the next time. So yeah. Until then though, League, oh my gosh, Drosy, this is already week 6. We only have one more week of League. Drosy.
Yeah, well, and then SpeedGaming Live, and then we'll start the playoffs for League, and 16 teams in each league are going to the playoffs, so that'll take the rest of the year and into just after New Year's to work through. So we got plenty of stuff coming up still.
Yeah, so what you're telling me is there's going to be tons of rando through basically the end of the year for me to go to keep watching. Yeah.
Yup. And one lucky team will get their names in gold on the League server at the end.
Gold. Wow. Just like the gold sword, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Secretly, it's butter.
Oh, got it. Oh man, that sounds tasty. Hope it'll keep going.
Anyway, that should do it for us here, though. So, thanks everyone for watching.
Yeah, have a good night.